In almost every police department, there's a place where cold homicide cases gather dust. Each box contains unfinished business, evidence, interviews, in its very own murder book. These cases aren't dead, but sleeping. Each one waiting for new leads and a cop to dig out the truth and finally bring a killer to justice. Scottsdale, Arizona, a laid-back bedroom community on the outskirts of Phoenix. It's one of the country's first master-planned communities. But back in the 1970s, while city officials were in the middle of creating the perfect American town, something evil was lurking behind a wall of silence, and it was preying on the city's children. Fast forward to 2006. 32-year-old Detective Hugh Lockerbie is no stranger to hard work. He grew up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin. A good kid with solid Midwestern values, he always knew he wanted to go into law enforcement. But after college in 1997, a local job was hard to come by. So he headed west and joined the Scottsdale Police Department. 6 years later, he's handpicked to create a new cold case unit. Some of the murder cases stretch back before he was born. The job fits Lockerbie like a glove.
I enjoy the history. I enjoy going back into these very deep, very old cases and bringing some justice back to the victim, and to let the person that committed this horrific murder know that they're not going to get away with it.
The first case he opens is Scottsdale's most notorious, the 28-year-old murder book of a boy named Greg Hullman.
Greg, come help your mom with the groceries. I'm late getting dinner ready.
It's Sunday evening. Shirley Williams expects to find her 14-year-old son, Greg, at home.
Mom, don't go looking for me. I have to get out of the house for a little while.
Not very long. I'll be back very soon. Don't worry, please. I'll call you very soon. Love, Greg.
Love, Greg.
It's not the first time Greg has gone off without telling his parents where he's going. Just a few months before, he stayed out all night with a buddy and didn't turn up until school the next day. But that doesn't make Shirley less anxious.
Is Greg over there?
She starts calling everyone, looking for Greg.
If you hear anything, please just give me a call. No, he hasn't been home since about 1:30.
Nick, a friend of Greg's, says he last saw him in the park with their friends around 6 p.m. when he left to go home.
Thanks. Bye.
The next morning, Nick swings by the park and sees Greg's bike, but no Greg. When Greg doesn't show up at school, his mother calls the police.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate this.
Of course.
Please come in.
The first detective assigned to the case is 8-year veteran Dennis Borenhagen.
This is the letter he left me.
You know, we got a lot of them, a routine missing person, juvenile, and it seemed like probably 95% of those were, you know, runaways, that they'd take off and maybe 2 days later they'd come home and, you know, they were just mad about something.
Borenhagen figures Greg's just a teenage boy blowing off some steam. He'll be back. But another 3 days go by, and there's still no sign of him.
I know he left a note, but he wouldn't worry me this way. He said he would call, and it's been 3 days. 3 days, Detective.
Listen.
Call it a mother's intuition, but Shirley just knows something happened to her boy.
The thing that got me going was when Hullman's mother came into the police station and said, you know, he did not run away. This is not like him.
Borenhagen's convinced. He immediately opens a missing persons investigation. According to his mom, Greg can sometimes be a sullen teen, but mostly he's a good kid with a big heart. He's a middle child in a Brady Bunch-style blended family of 9, which he loves. He gets along fine with his mom and his stepdad, and his house is the place neighborhood kids like to hang out.
Come on, move it, dork. Did your mom give you that haircut? Oh, that's real cute. What a spaz.
Knock it off.
He's fiercely protective of family and friends.
You tell that kid, if he messes with you again, he can deal with me, okay?
Okay, Greg. I will.
Greg's a typical 9th grader. He isn't all that crazy about school. He'd rather play sports, ride bikes, and spend time with his friends.
I recall the days were few. That is all that I can do. Feel the carvings in the tree that gave shade for you and me.
He became my first steady boyfriend, my first dance, my first kiss. Greg was an easygoing person. He's very laid back, very sweet kid.
Greg and Susan are part of the popular clique that liked to hang out at the local park.
We were like brothers and sisters. The guys would protect the girls, and we would feel like we were safe with them, and we would just, on the spur of the moment, we'd go camping, we'd go to the river, we'd go anywhere.
People find where they belong or keep on.
But where Greg is now is anyone's guess.
Excuse me.
Detective Borenhagen starts his investigation with the kids Greg was with on the afternoon he disappeared.
The friends that were there at the park on that date, basically they all had the same story.
Greg spent the early afternoon at his friend Nick's house. Around 4 o'clock, the two boys rode their bikes over to the park, where Greg's bike was later found.
So guess who's getting their license next week?
What? No way.
Congrats, buddy. I know. Forget about that.
Nick left around 6 to go home for dinner.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Good night, John boy.
Night, Mary Ellen.
Then John Benson showed up, a wacky 15-year-old who liked to call himself Captain Outrageous.
Hey, any of you dudes interested in a little party?
Actually, I gotta go home, dude. Sorry. Yeah.
Why not?
All right, the Greginator's in. Awesome.
Okay.
Let's go.
That's the last time the members of the group ever saw Greg Hullman.
Benson wasn't part of Greg's circle of friends, so before he talks to him, Borenhagen digs up the basic facts about the teen. From the outside, the Bensons have it all. They live in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in town. But John, their oldest, is a shy, awkward kid, kind of a loner.
Hey, looking this way.
For years, he's the weird guy, and kids in his class avoid him or make fun of him behind his back.
Smile, say cheese.
Then when he hits his teens, John tries on a new persona, trading in his shyness for a top hat, a cape, and a party boy personality to match.
Who wants to party? Hey, let's do it at my place after school.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
No, it'll be awesome. Come on.
He was a surfer punk before there were surfer punks. He was a lot of fun, and he was generous because his family had money.
Hey guys, it's Captain Outrageous. Who wants to party? Look what I got. Hey guys, looky. Oh man.
I thought he was quirky and kind of off his rocker, but I think I found that interesting. because I was, a typical lanky, scrawny, middle-class kid from Scottsdale. Here's this kid that couldn't be more confident in himself.
Captain Outrageous becomes the leader of a kind of teen bad boys club. But most of the self-styled cool kids still keep him at arm's length.
He was an outcast, so we didn't go around him too much, and it was surprising to me that Greg did.
It's time for Borenhagen to have a talk with the captain.
What time did you get to the park?
I don't know.
And do you remember leaving with Greg to drink beer?
Yeah.
And was anyone with you?
No.
And when did you see Greg last?
Greg had to use the payphone at school and left.
What time was that?
I don't know.
John didn't come out with any information. He had to be asked questions. I really got the impression that he was lying. He was not being forthcoming in what he was telling me.
So Borenhagen invites him downtown for a lie detector test. In 1978, it's standard operating procedure, even for a 15-year-old kid.
Do you know where Greg Hullman is right now?
No.
Are you covering for him?
No.
Did you have anything to do with the disappearance of Greg Hullman?
No.
Benson completely fails the test.
After the polygraph, now I know he's our person of interest, and I'm wondering, what do I do now? Polygraphs are not admissible in any kind of proceedings, and we didn't have any physical evidence other than the kid saying that he walked away with him. That's all we had, really.
Borenhagen's gut tells him Benson knows what happened to Greg, but he needs evidence to prove it. As he questions kids at the high school, he hears rumors about a fight shortly before Greg's disappearance.
They said that Greg had taken some money from him, and that some days later, Benson found out, and he was very irate about that.
But every teen he talks to has a different story.
There was another kid that took John's wallet.
A different kid?
Yeah, Greg was there too.
What did you say was stolen?
A bong.
A bong? They're just a bunch of stoners.
The only thing the kids seem to agree on is that there was bad blood between Greg Hullman and John Benson. But with conflicting stories and no further evidence that Benson had anything to do with Greg's disappearance, maybe the weird guy's just the easiest target for the kids.
Did you hear that he still sucks his thumb? That is disgusting. That's so gross.
Yeah.
What, does he wear a diaper too? I bet he does, and probably picks his nose. That's sick. Ew.
Until one scared teenager quietly steps forward.
It's really, really bad. I heard that John killed Greg.
Killed Greg how?
I don't know. All I know is that he's dead and John put him in one of those forts on the res.
Borenhagen knows exactly what the teenager means by one of the forts on the res. Scottsdale kids have been digging underground hideaways on the nearby Native American reservation for years to escape the brutal heat and their parents' prying eyes.
Benson had dug some underground forts in the desert area, which was just a block from his house. And they would hang out and drank or used drugs to excess.
The kid doesn't know exactly where the fort is. So Borenhagen organizes a group of junior police cadets into a makeshift youth patrol.
We had them go over to the reservation and walk that whole area looking for any unsettled earth, recently turned earth or anything where a fort might have been, and came up with negative results.
The secret fort becomes just another dark rumor whispered around the high school. Borenhagen has a feeling that somewhere in all these wild stories about Benson lies the truth about what really happened to Greg Hullman. But without anything solid to go on, his gut instinct isn't enough to keep the case going.
Where do you go from there? It was very frustrating not to come up with anything further.
A few months later, Borenhagen is reassigned to another department. The next time anyone at the Scottsdale PD looks at the file, Greg's been missing for 3 years. In 1981, Detective Frank Hilton takes over the case. Hilton is one of the best. Solves all his cases. He's old school, a devout Christian who believes that when you cross a line, there's a price to be paid.
My captain said that he wasn't satisfied. He wanted some more answers, and he wanted me to reinvestigate it, see if I could get more information about the boy that he left with.
The minute Hilton opens the case file, he sees the same thing Borenhagen saw. John Benson. Now it's his job to make something stick to the kid who's been the prime suspect since day one. Hilton starts by talking to some of Benson's old friends. Most are high school seniors now.
Do you guys know if John ever threatened Greg?
Yeah, or something like that. Because Greg stole from him.
Are you sure it was Greg?
Yeah. Yeah.
What did he steal?
It was definitely Greg, and it was definitely a bong that he stole.
Bong, huh?
Then the teens add a critical detail that hadn't shown up in the earlier reports. They say John Benson was so mad about the stolen bong, he threatened to kill Greg.
Did John actually say the word kill?
Yeah. I kill him.
Hilton starts hearing how Benson liked taking drugs, drinking booze, and using both as a way to get other boys to hang out with him. But John's not just the weird kid who desperately wants to be accepted.
Once we hung around with him, we found out that he had a very dark side.
The first time Lou Chardell saw that dark side was during a fight between Benson and his own little brother.
Dude.
Yeah, you know what
Give it back.
What?
Give it back.
You want this?
Yeah.
You want this?
Yes.
Right here?
Yes.
Yeah.
John! John, you're gonna kill him! Stop!
John!
It was the worst beating I'd ever seen someone give another kid. It was frightening, because I thought if he could do that to his own brother, what would he do to somebody that really pissed him off?
So Hilton decides to sit down with the now 18-year-old high school senior, determined to get Benson to talk.
John, why don't you tell me about your relationship with Greg?
There really isn't a relationship. I just know him.
Weren't you the last person that saw him?
I don't know.
It became more of a hard interview, and accusing him of doing something to Greg, which he denied. And he kept denying and denying.
Your friend Sam here says that you threatened to kill Greg.
Whatever.
So you had nothing to do with Greg's disappearance?
No.
I don't believe that. All the evidence points to you. I know you had something to do with Greg's disappearance.
I told you everything I know.
Are you willing to swear on the Holy Bible that you don't know anything?
I swear to God I didn't do anything to Greg Hullman.
So I jumped back and said, God's gonna strike you dead because you just lied.
If I told you what happened, everybody would hate me.
I knew then that he had done something to Greg Hullman, and I figured we had him on the edge of confession. I was afraid if I pushed it too much, he's gonna say, I want a lawyer.
But just as the floodgates are about to open,
I'll call you tomorrow and tell you why.
the next day passes, and the next, and Benson never calls Hilton back. Hilton's stuck. He's still got nothing but dark rumors tying Benson to Greg's disappearance. So if Benson won't talk, Hilton can't make him.
Next step was just trying to keep track of his movements, continue to interview people if their names came up, and looking at any leads that would surface.
But no matter how hard Hilton pushes, no one gives up anything concrete on Benson.
Deep inside, I knew he had done something with Greg. I didn't know where the body was. There was nowhere else to go with it. I had to sit and wait to see what would come in. The case went stale at that point.
In 1984, Hilton is pulled out of the Detective Bureau to supervise another division in the department. But he still keeps his radar up for John Benson. For 5 years, Greg Hullman's case sits on a shelf. Then, on April 18, 1986, they finally get a lead.
Detectives received a tip indicating that Greg Hullman's body was buried somewhere behind the Circle K, which is a convenience market located on the Salt River Indian Reservation.
It's the second time someone is called to say Greg was buried on the reservation. This time, when police go out to search, they make a stunning discovery. An abandoned underground fort. They excavate it completely, but find no sign of Greg's remains.
Nothing was ever found behind the Circle K. That was incredibly frustrating.
By now, cold case detective Hugh Lockerbie has spent weeks combing through the Hullman murder book. He notes a recurring theme of Greg's body being buried in a mysterious underground fort that Benson dug. And Lockerbie has a nagging feeling that there's more to the story that no one's talking about. Because after the desert dig, there's another 6-year gap without a single lead. Then in 1992, 14 years after Greg Hullman disappeared, Detective Frank Hilton gets a call from out of the blue.
Frank Hilton?
Hi, Detective. This is Lisa. I'm Greg Hullman's older sister.
Lisa Hullman. Yeah, I remember you. Hey, how's your mom doing these days?
She died. I'm sorry, I've kind of taken over things since her passing.
I'm sorry, I had no idea. She was really a great lady.
Thank you.
Lisa tells Detective Hilton that she and her younger brother were talking the other night, and they had some questions for him.
I just think that it's really strange that nobody in the investigation ever checked out John Benson's backyard. I mean, he had a fort back there.
John Benson had a fort in his backyard?
Yeah, he had this fort where he and the neighbor kids would go drink and hang out, and it was just bad news.
After years of whispered rumors about John Benson's secret fort, it turns out it was right at his house all along.
I was really shocked, for one thing, because had I heard that story when I was investigating it, I would have been in the backyard with a search warrant, and we would have dug up the fort.
Hilton patches Lisa right through to the current chief of homicide detectives, Craig Krasnowski.
I think it took a while for Greg's sister to tell the police about the fort because I think she assumed we knew about it. She said Benson's dad took a backhoe and dug a hole that was almost 7 feet deep in the shape of a T. And shortly after Greg went missing, this fort was covered up with dirt and gravel.
Krasnowski assigns one of his best detectives, Barrett Vassal, to look into Lisa's claim. The Bensons have left their Scottsdale home for a place in Tempe. The people renting their old house let the cops check out the backyard.
Greg, you gotta take a look at this.
In the northeast corner of the lot, we could see a mound of dirt to be the area where the fort was at.
Police immediately begin digging. Charles Merbs, a local anthropology professor, leads the forensic team.
My specialty is the human skeleton, and identification was clearly going to be an extremely important element of this case if indeed bones were found.
The fort's about 8 feet by 8 feet, and scraping away at the dirt, layer by layer, is an agonizing process.
We had to screen every single bit of the dirt looking for any kind of bone, even a scrap of bone.
Is this a human bone?
No, that's chicken.
As we got lower and lower and weren't finding anything, I was getting a little concerned that we were going to strike out on this one.
It didn't help that part of the fort had been filled in with what looked like years of debris from long ago backyard barbecues. It goes on this way for hours. Then, after an entire day of backbreaking work, pay dirt.
Find something?
Oh my gosh. You're gonna want to see this.
Wow. That's definitely human.
From my first look at the bone, I could tell that it was a young individual, not an infant, not an adult, probably somebody in their teens.
That's a rib bone, gentlemen.
Oh, there are more down there?
Let's take a look.
The search becomes a recovery effort. They keep digging and digging through the rest of that day and into the next day, too.
Is life something to capture?
What is that?
It's a cassette tape case.
Just more junk.
If you contain it, are you the master?
They find carpeting, lighters, and lots of liquor bottles. But no bones.
Take the locks and watch them shatter. You find the speed of light, but there is something faster. I feel you closing in. I feel your breathing on my skin.
They dig deeper.
It's getting dark again.
About 40 inches down, we heard kind of a crunch.
You find something?
I think so.
What is it?
What we found was a typical black plastic garbage bag, and in that bag were human remains, human bones.
What do you think?
We have a chest cavity here with ribs. It looks 12 to 15, early adolescence.
But there's one major problem. The skeleton is incomplete.
There were very clear saw marks through the third vertebra in the neck, indicating where the head had been removed.
And the head isn't anywhere in sight. Neither are the hands. Without them, it's almost impossible to confirm whose bones they've found.
We pretty much had a feeling amongst ourselves that this was Greg Hullman in our minds and in our hearts.
But proving it's Greg in a court of law is going to be a challenge. In 1992, John Does are identified either through dental records or fingerprints. But in this case, police never found the skull or hands.
So I think it was deliberate on his part to take those parts away, so if the body was ever recovered, we would not be able to identify it.
So Detective Krasnowski and his team have to think outside the 1992 box.
The military was doing a new process called DNA, which we were not using in Scottsdale. We had no crime lab. I don't even believe the state was doing DNA.
Detectives try to find a civilian DNA program interested in analyzing the remains. They get lucky at UC Berkeley.
They asked us to send a femur bone and to get blood from the siblings of Greg so they could do a cross match of genetic DNA.
The only catch, DNA testing is so new, the lab says it will take months to get results. While they wait, the detectives pay a visit to the Bensons' new home in Tempe.
This is Detective Craig with Scottsdale.
When we spoke to John Benson's parents concerning the remains being found in their backyard, they seemed to be a bit distraught over that.
The Bensons insist they have no idea how human bones got in the fort. John's dad says he filled in the fort sometime in 1979, when he caught his son drinking there.
Did you happen to look into that pit before you started filling it in?
No.
The Bensons never gave it a second thought. When asked about John, the Bensons tell detectives they haven't seen their oldest son in years.
His parents were not aware of where he was living at. They were not aware of where he was working at, and they advised us that he was in Mexico, but they didn't know where.
We do hear from John. Here's our number.
We'll track him down if we can.
To see if they can shore up their case against Benson, detectives call on Benson's childhood friend, Lou Chardell. They start by telling him about the human remains found in Benson's backyard.
A chill went through me because I had been in that fort.
So, was it big enough to stand in?
Yeah, we could stand in it. It was, at least 10, 12 feet underground.
A fort, it made it sound like it was kind of a silly kid thing. This was like a professionally made sweat lodge. So it was an attraction for the other kids in the neighborhood to, go there and have party time.
I think at the time, a lot of kids would...
But none of Benson's friends thought there was anything sinister going on down there. It was just a bunch of guys hanging out and partying.
Brittany looked so good today. Hey, man, get this guy a drink.
I got it.
Looking back, there was only one time that Lou could recall Benson saying anything that was questionable.
How you feeling, John?
Outrageous, man. Come on now.
My God.
You know me.
John had had quite a few drinks and probably who knows what else. He, all of a sudden, with his booming voice, said,
What would you do if I told you there's a body down here?
You could hear the crickets chirp. And we all just sort of looked at each other like, what the hell? And all of a sudden, this other friend of ours said,
Hopefully it's a female body.
Yeah.
No, man. Seriously. Really. There's a body buried down here.
Yeah, whatever. He buried his cat there or something. Who knows? We laughed it off.
They chalk it up to Benson being high and always wanting attention. But 14 years after Greg's disappearance, Lou wonders if Benson was actually confessing to them. Then, after weeks of looking, the cops track down John Benson. Not in Mexico, but in Tucson.
Do you remember the fort in the backyard of your old house? Yeah, we had a fort, I think. Yeah. We dug it up. You know what we found? No idea. We found a body, John. I don't know anything about a body. Why did your buddies say that you bragged about the possibility of there being a body under where they were? I don't know. Well, kids, who knows? Cut the crap, John. Hey, you know what? Why don't you cut the crap? I'm leaving. I don't have to be here.
There's nothing they can do. All they've got is circumstantial evidence and a bunch of scary stories. So just like the last time cops faced him down, Benson slips out of their grasp. A year passes, and there's not a lead in sight. Then, the long-awaited DNA results arrive.
The DNA testing came back as being 99% positive that the remains were those of Greg Hullman.
After 15 years, Greg's case file is now officially a murder book. and police are certain John Benson killed him. He was the last person seen with Greg. The two had argued just days before Greg disappeared, and Greg's bones were found in his backyard.
I was thinking that we had enough to arrest him. I believe it was a prosecutable case.
But after the DA reviews the evidence, he refuses to go forward with an indictment.
I was in shock. I think that finding the victim's body in the suspect's backyard after the suspect said he was the last person seen with him should have been enough to prosecute.
We may have had probable cause, however, we did not have information beyond a reasonable doubt, which is what a jury needs to convict someone in a court of law. Not being able to get a complaint on a case where you think you know who did it and you think you know why they did it, it's a little frustrating, but you keep your nose to the grindstone until you can come up with something else where the county attorney's office believes that they can actually get a conviction.
It's a devastating blow to the case, and it buries Greg Hullman's murder book back in the file room for another 10 years. Then in 2006, Scottsdale's most promising new detective, Hugh Lockerbie, enters this epic cat-and-mouse game.
I've read from cover to cover this case 15 different times. And what happened to Greg Hullman that day, you know, something that, you know, you just don't want to wish on anyone, but I mean, to happen to a child, I mean, that really, really brought it home.
Lockerbie's commander asks former investigator Frank Hilton to come out of retirement to help Lockerbie nail Benson once and for all.
I knew where the case was. I knew who the suspect was. We didn't have to focus on anybody else. We were going to be able to solve it, there's no doubt about it.
Hilton and Lockerbie start their investigation where all the other cops have, with the teens that were interviewed in 1978. After so much time has passed, they think they might finally have a shot of digging out the truth from all those swirling rumors.
When we spoke with these kids, or now adults, there was some new things that came forward. It was like one breadcrumb led to another breadcrumb, and the puzzle pieces started to go together.
We're going to ask you some questions.
Detectives quickly learn what the problem was. The original detectives were focused on kids the same age as Greg Hullman and John Benson. Instead, they should have been looking at kids a couple of years younger, who knew a lot more about what went on in that backyard fort.
I want you to know that you have our word that you will be kept in the strictest confidence and you will remain 100% anonymous.
It was like the time machine went up, and all of a sudden, here's this kid talking to us about what happened. You could see the pain that he has been living with for all these years.
Take a deep breath, concentrate, tell us what happened, just take your time.
The fort was like a chamber of horrors.
It's okay.
We started basically treating him like you would treat a child victim, very open-ended questions.
You wouldn't believe the things that he did to me.
What kinds of things?
He did sick things. Oh, God.
John Benson, the awkward, oversized 15-year-old, wasn't just a party animal and a bully. He was a sexual predator, and his prey were some of the neighborhood kids he lured to the fort with the promise of a little contraband.
Ever have a real drink before?
No.
Makes everything feel real nice.
From that point forward, we were able to learn of additional victims that had been in the fort that never were interviewed before, that were victims of John's sexual abuse.
Good, right?
He would get them drunk, and then he would start fondling them, having them touch him. And some of the kids disclosed some pretty horrific descriptions of how they were raped by him.
Benson rightly counted on his young victims being too ashamed and terrified to tell.
One individual, I'll never forget this, described him as a Jeffrey Dahmer type of person. So, I mean, till this day, he didn't want to give me his name because he was so fearful of him.
Do you recall a fort in John Benson's backyard? Yeah. Did you ever spend any time in this fort?
The detectives end up finding several victims of John Benson's brutality. The youngest victim wasn't even a teenager yet when John Benson attacked him.
He did disclose some very painful memories of being molested by John and being abused by John. It was right around 2 to 3 weeks just prior to Greg going missing.
Did you, at the time, tell anybody about what John had done to you?
Yes, one person.
Who did you tell?
Greg.
Greg Hullman.
Yeah. He was always looking out for us kids. I mean,
see? That wasn't so bad, right?
Detectives figure one of two things happened the day Greg disappeared.
Hey, any of you dudes interested in a little party? Why not?
Either John Benson lured Greg away from the park to take advantage of him, or Greg went willingly in order to confront Benson about assaulting his young friend. Next thing you know, Greg's missing. Until detectives find his dismembered body more than a decade later in Benson's backyard. Now cops finally have what they need, a direct connection between Benson and Greg.
Finding out what happened in that fort showed us motive. And so the hard work that Detective Lockerbie and Detective Hilton did on this, and the willingness of those victims to come forward, I think ultimately was a big piece of evidence that prosecution agreed to go forward with.
A warrant is issued for the arrest of John Benson, now 44 years old. He isn't hard to find. He's already in jail.
Hey, I gotta see your face.
He was locked up for child molestation.
Let me see it. All right.
Having worked these type of crimes, usually they stay with the same age, same profile of the victim. Even if they're 40, 50, or 60, they still have this fantasy or attraction to that type of victim.
In 2008, a grand jury indicts 44-year-old John Benson for second-degree murder.
We weren't able to prove how Greg Hullman was killed, so we couldn't make it a first-degree case, first-degree murder case.
Eventually, Benson pleads to the lesser charge of manslaughter. That means he never stands trial for the death of Greg Hullman.
John Benson never disclosed to us or in court what happened that day in October 8th of 1978. I was hoping that he would have disclosed as to what happened to the rest of Greg's body. I believe that he'll go to his grave with that information.
You know, I think it was hell for the Hullman family. And there is nothing you can do for them to comfort them at the time. I think the best gift is to have this case solved, find out what happened to Greg Hullman, find out who did it, and that they have justice done in this case.
He would have got what he deserved in 1981 if we could have found the body and arrested him then, after living to be 44, 45, and then get convicted. He's lived with the crime, so now he's going to do some time for it. If he gets out, maybe he'll go straight, maybe he won't.
It's important to know
that there are people like this and predators out there that exist today that need help and need to stay out of society. I value myself as a Christian person, but I hate John Benson. I hate him. I have nothing good to say.
After 30 years, Scottsdale police can finally close Greg's murder book.
It's a good feeling to close a cold case, and I always remember a saying from an old detective in New York, and he said, somebody has to speak for the dead, and it's our job to do that. And I think by us pushing forward for those 30 years, we spoke for the victim.
I think that it was sort of a learning experience to realize that wolves can still hide in sheep's clothing, and that someone that we brought into our lives and our circle of friends can turn out to be a complete monster.
Sometimes closure is not the best thing when you find out something like this. In all the years that we had thought he just disappeared, I would have rather have had that answer than the one that we have. Greg will always have a special place in my heart. Sorry. I'm sorry. Just not fair.